So I have my iPad and a book. Why? Well, I'm trying to figure out whether I should read this book on my iPad or with this old-fashioned technology of paper bound in a cover. That's the question. Now, it would seem I would clearly read the book on my iPad. It is a bit lighter, easier to carry around, and I can, in most cases, enlarge the type font, making it easier to read. But is the iPad screen, or any screen, which is the real question here, the best for reading? The debate between reading on paper versus digital screens has been persisted since the advent of screens. With the rise of smartphones, e-readers, and tablets, understanding how these mediums affect comprehension, retention, and overall cognitive engagement has never been more relevant. Hi, I'm Jim Kohler, the print and paper guy. So stick with me here, and I'll explain which is better and why, screen or paper. So let's get by the front loader and let's get into it. So, am I better off reading print on paper versus on my screen? Well, there are several reasons research has found that reading on paper can be better than reading on a screen. They basically fall into three main categories. 1, cognitive and learning benefits. 2, eye comfort. And 3, physical and psychological experience. If we look at cognitive and learning benefits, there is a clear winner, and it is text on paper. You know, reading on paper encourages focused and deep reading. Unlike digital devices, paper does not offer distractions like notifications, hyperlinks, or apps coming at you all the time. This uninterrupted reading experience allows the brain to fully immerse itself in the text, leading to better concentration and improved understanding of complex ideas. Your brain is not only constantly processing information, but also mapping where that information came from, so it can be more easily recalled when needed. Another big fact for reading on paper is less eye strain. Paper, especially your bestseller books, clearly reduces eye strain. The paper reflects light, whereas screens emit light directly into your eye, which can cause fatigue, dryness, and discomfort after long reading sessions. Screens give off a blue light also, which can disrupt circadian rhythms and make it harder to sleep if you read before bed. This is why you hear those in the know tell people not to read screens well before bedtime. They don't say that about print on paper. Paper today, especially uncoated papers, has no glare, flicker, or contrast issues. Most book papers, for example, have a neutral warm color that is easy on the eyes. Plus, the paper is usually printed on a vellum-type finish, which is also easy on the eyes. It has been proven that people can read a book much longer than they can on a screen. There are other factors that make printed paper far better than the screen. Just holding and reading on a page provides a sensory experience that helps concentration and enjoyment. Also a big one, no battery. Paper doesn't need updates and can be used anywhere. You know, it was only a few years ago when it was predicted that digital screen books would far outsell paper printed. Well, did that really happen? Nope. According to the recent Pew Research Center, traditional printed books are still the most popular reading format for both adults and children. In fact, a survey conducted said that 75% of Americans claim they read a book in some format over the last year. 32% of Americans claim they read only printed books. 33% say they read both print and digital. And 9% say they only read digital. One sad statistic is that 23% of the respondents said they don't read books, and that's a real shame. So, print outsides digital books by 4 to 1. I think that is awesome. Well, that's it for this video. I must admit, my iPad Pro is my laptop, and I love the technology. But when I read a book, publication, or other material, it's always on paper. In fact, several of the magazines I used to subscribe to left paper for digital, and I ended up not subscribing to them anymore. Kind of sad. Before you ask, I did try reading on my iPad Pro, but I really didn't like it for all the reasons above. So that's it for this episode. So, time to read this fantastic book. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? If you have subscribed, make sure you have tapped the bell for notifications of the next episode. Also, if you got anything out of this episode, give us a like. And with that, I'm Jim Kohler, the print and paper guy. And I hope to see you in the next episode.